Hello and welcome to this edition of the G24 Newsroom, your program in English to discuss the top stories of the past month. We are going to do a scan and travel the world starting from Gabon, Africa and the world. Now let's go straight to our top stories. The United Nations He for She platform against violence against women was officially launched in April 19 in Gabon at the Radisson Blu Hotel. France's incumbent President Emmanuel Macron was re-elected on Sunday, April 24, with 58.5% of the votes. And we shall take a football tour from the World Cup to the AFCON 2023 in the Gabonese National League First and Second Division. Well, let us start open, and now we're going to come back after this. Well, thank you. Now we're starting straight with society. The month of April was filled with gender equality activities in the country. One of the main events was the launching of the UN He for She platform to fight violence against women. It was on April 19 that the Radisson Blu Hotel, as I said before the titles, Gabon then becomes the 15th country to join the campaign. Let us watch this report from Maria Batista Bina.
He for She, often referred to as He for She, is a solidarity movement for the advancement of gender equality initiated by the United Nations. Grounded in the idea that gender inequality is an issue that affects all people socially, economically, and politically. He for She is a global effort that seeks to involve men and boys in achieving equality by taking action against negative gender, stereotype, and behaviors. Its launch in Gabon is now official, and Gabon becomes the 15th country on the list of signatories of this commitment in Africa.
So today we launch a very important program called the He for She. In 2014, UN Women, which is the agency of the UN that is in charge of gender equality and women empowerment, launched this movement to rally men for gender equality and women empowerment. Over 15 countries on the continent have joined the campaign, and today we had the opportunity to launch it in Gabon. We gave the He for She distinction, the pin, to the president this morning, and together this afternoon we were able to meet with all the coalition of the willing, civil society organization, religious and community leaders, to say that we can together end discrimination, protect our women, and give them opportunities. At UN Women, we say that what we are trying to do is really consolidated in what we call 3 R's, which is about rights, it's about representation, but it's also about resources. And the opportunity that we have today is to have strong men who stand for gender equality and women empowerment.
In Gabon, the message went through as a letter to the post because several men present at this initiative say they have understood the interest of this campaign and have not hesitated to engage in the campaign. He for She.
Well, as I said, fighting for women's rights is fighting for humanity. So we are all concerned about this topic. We need to do it. We need to fight for them so that we will live in a better world.
In conclusion, the UN Women Representative for West and Central Africa, Oulimata Sarr, awarded the He for She distinction to President Ali Bongo Ondimba for his action in favor of the gender equality in Gabon.
Well, to go deeper into this important cause, I received Mrs. Dion Abernathy Kassa. She's the Honor Executive Program Director of Dynamic Educational Consulting. Hello, Mrs. Kassa.
Hello.
How are you doing?
I am wonderful. I'm glad to be here. Thank you.
Welcome in Gabon.
Yes. Thank you, Gabon.
Yeah. Can you tell us, please, about your activities, what you're doing, and how in that field of women empowerment, how you're active?
Yes. So as you said, I have a company called Dynamic Educational Consulting. And my desire is really to help youth around the world academically as well as mentally be able to achieve their goals through academic initiations, educational programs. And I began long time ago when I was very young. I started in universities tutoring, and I just have always had a love for teaching. And I actually have 6 children of my own that I began homeschooling.
That's amazing.
I began homeschooling, and I homeschooled them all the way up until their high school years in the U.S. And I have one now who's 10 years old that I'm homeschooling. So education has always been a part of my life. And I really wish to share that with youth around the world, especially those who don't have the same opportunities that others have.
Okay, now we have heard into this report that we just showed on TV that there was a global solidarity movement for gender equality that we call He for She. It was launched in Gabon by Emma Watson, the UN Women Goodwill Ambassador. So do you think, as a person involved in women empowering, not in Gabon, but in the world, do you think that empowering women has really gained some ground, you know, that nations, that countries have understood the fight to make women better, to have an equal society?
Yes. Yes, I do. I am fortunate enough to be in the U.S., and so I believe that my country has had more opportunities for women, probably more than any other country in the world. And so that has been very helpful for me. But I do believe that many other countries are speaking out, and that is definitely gaining ground for women to be able to show their gifts and talents as entrepreneurs, as women in the business field. And I think that the more and more that we speak about this and we put this on platforms, others will see our unique and special qualities that we can help impact the world.
Exactly, but we have also noticed that the movement has had a big influence on social media, you know, and the internet in general, along with other trends like Black Lives Matter, or even the Me Too movement. What do you think about this? Is the world really for an equal society?
Well, I believe that, again, it's a challenge, but I believe that we are making steps towards that. I believe that many people are beginning to see that women have these wonderful gifts and talents that we can help impact the world, especially in the field of entrepreneurship. And I believe that as we, again, put these things on platforms for other countries to see, especially those in authority, they will want and desire for us to be able to help. Yes.
But, you know, we have voted a law recently where, you know, during weddings, we say that the man is the boss of the household and so, but in Gabon, we've decided to put a quite of equal status to this. Now, women and men are both bosses in the household. Do you think such laws voted into parliaments are moving forward, are making the movement progress, or maybe it can start some problems in the, you know, in marriage?
Well,
you know, when I say marriage, because that's a place where there is a fight. We have violence in the marriage. There is a lot of women are complaining about how they are treated into the household. But now we have the parliament and laws coming out. Do you think it is you know, a move forward?
Yes, well, I believe that, you know, there can always be conflict. However, once we realize that the gifts and talents that women have to present, to bring to the table, do not threaten any social rankings or statuses or anything like that, but actually we benefit each other. You know, as a woman entrepreneur, I believe in being strong and confident, and my husband supports that. And my goals and things he supports as well as I support his, and so we make each other better.
You say you're involved into education. You're trying to bring your experience to other women, I think.
Yes.
What do you think about women that want to be like housewives? You see, they don't want to go and work because the society says that now both have to work, but there are some that feel that they have to stay home and raise their children and just be your wife.
And that's wonderful.
Do you think it is like in opposition with the gender equality movement?
Oh, absolutely not. And I believe that there's a time and a season for everything. When my children were young, I did stay home. I tutored, so I still had a business, but I was not able to operate fully outside of the home like I'm able to do now that my children are older. And so I believe that there's a balance. I believe that there's a time and place for everything. And even though I am a female entrepreneur, strong and confident in my business, I am also desiring to be a wonderful wife, an amazing mother, and an amazing homekeeper as well.
Wow, that's a great message. Well, thank you, Mrs. Casa, for coming on our set and discuss this really interesting matter with us. Let's hope to have you here again.
Thank you.
Maybe.
Yes, I hope to be here. Yes.
Okay, thank you so much. So now let us move forward and talk about politics. Well, now we're discussing politics. In France, Emmanuel Macron has defeated his far-right rival Marine Le Pen to be re-elected president of France, vowing to tackle the country's doubts and divisions during his second term. Leaders from all around the world congratulated him and still are. Let us watch this report from John Cyril Ondo Mengue.
Emmanuel Macron greeted and encouraged by his friends and partners. Reactions have been pouring in from around the world, from Europe, the Americas, but also from Africa. The re-election of the French president has been commented on by several political leaders. For Ali Bongo Ondimba, the Gabonese president, it is more than a common past. For him, Gabon and France have a future to build. The president of Senegal, Macky Sall, sent his best wishes for success in his second term to Macron. On his Facebook page, the Ivorian head of state, Alassane Ouattara, sent his warm congratulations to Emmanuel Macron, looking forward to continuing with him to strengthen the ties of friendship and cooperation between Côte d'Ivoire and France. His experience of international issues in general and the Sahel in particular makes him a valuable partner for us in our fight against terrorism, tweeted Mohamed Bazoum, president of Niger.
To discuss this French election, I received Mr. Boris Ondo, political analyst and president at the African Youth Action Foundation. Hello, Boris.
Hello, Jan.
How are you doing?
Oh, pretty good. Thank you for having me.
How is Korea?
Pretty well.
Amazing.
Hanging in there.
Mr. Ondo, is it safe to say, witnessing how it went from the first round until the final results, that the election in France was a really contested or fought one?
Well, I want to believe that it wasn't an easy win for President Macron, and it wasn't one in advance either for him. It was a hard election. The margin has been tighter than in the previous election in 2017. So, but at the end of the day, President Macron managed to bring that up and win a win of 58% of the election, which is to his credit.
Okay, Boris, some analysts say it was almost possible to hear the sighs of relief from Paris to Brussels and all the way to Washington. Was it an everything but Marine Le Pen type of election again?
Well, some would believe that, and that's exactly how it looked like, because when you look at it, President Macron's dissatisfaction level was very high. People did not really want Macron back because of the way he managed inflation in his country. The purchasing power of the people was low, and a lot of economic challenges that people wanted to see solved. So on the surface, President Macron was not the favorite of the candidates. But people also feared Le Pen's policies, or immigration policies, or anti-Euro policies. So all these fears have led people to want to prefer President Macron rather than Marine Le Pen. So it wasn't so much of a person than it was of the type of policies that she pursues.
Yeah, Boris, can you give us some insight, your own thought about the political picture in France right now? It seems like the left and the right concept is collapsing, and now we have kind of sovereignist versus globalist. Can we say that?
It would be fair to look at things that way indeed, because not that traditional left and right ideologies have disappeared, but mostly that the fact that President Macron has been able to play the global statesman to present the interest of France in its integration in the European Union, and as the complementarity of the solutions of the country would benefit from being part of the European Union. This is an argument that he has used very well to his profit. And therefore, he has managed to bring a lot of people to understanding that leaving the European Union wouldn't be to their benefit, given the economic crisis that are going right now on in the country, and the energy transition input that is right now on the table. So he has managed to make people understand that staying in the European Union is better right now for the country than leaving the Union. So it looks like it becomes more global against sovereignty. But I want to believe that the old traditions of the French politics still remains there in place.
Okay, now Emmanuel Macron is president. Everyone is turning to the legislatives. In June, what is at stake?
A lot, I would say, is at stake. And I think that President Macron may well struggle to secure a majority at the parliament this time, because he has used a strategy that pretty much is likely going to play against it. Remember that in 2017, President Macron, or candidate Macron, introduced himself to the people as the centrist of candidate with his movement En Marche. So he didn't belong to the left, he didn't belong to the right. He brought people together to this centrist movement that made him win the election. But once he won the election, he didn't stay at the center as he promised, or as he came up first. He mostly veered toward the right and during all his first term. And for the re-election, the running up campaign, he played the left card. So it has been pivoting from central to right and then to the left, which puts him in a very difficult condition right now that he has won the election with a very tight margin. So remember that 70 million people voted for Mélenchon in the first. A good half of the majority of the vote went to the far right with Le Pen. So now that the legislatives are coming, these are the people who do not want Macron in power. So they will use these legislatives as a power to keep him in check now that he's in power. So President Macron will be better off to building a good coalition if he wants to secure his majority in the parliament right now.
Okay, well, thank you, Boris. Thank you. We are glad to have you. Let's hope that we're going to have you again discussing about international politics very soon.
Thank you very much, Jan, for having me.
Go ahead and talk about sports. Now we are taking a football tour from the World Cup to be held in Qatar in 2022, translating by the qualifiers of the AFCON 2023 in Côte d'Ivoire to reach the Gabonese National League first and second division in this element by Yana Kinigi.
Football has been very active in April this year. Making the headlines is the upcoming World Cup, which will be held in Qatar in the year 2022. The 5 African nations qualified are Cameroon, Morocco, Tunisia, Ghana, and Senegal, and they will represent the Confederation of African Football in this first ever November-December World Cup. All 5 qualifiers booked their places at Qatar by winning the 2-leg playoffs. The whole continent will be hoping for a much better performance from the 2018 World Cup in Russia, with the AFCON champion Senegal leading the charge. At continental level, the draw for the second round of qualifying for the 2023 African Cup of Nations in Côte d'Ivoire took place on April 19th in South Africa by the hands of the former central defender and captain of Bafana Bafana, Lucas Radebe, and the former Ivorian international striker, Salomon Kalou. Gabon was drawn in Group I with the Democratic Republic of Congo, Mauritania, and Sudan. The 48 teams involved were divided in 12 groups of 4. Half of them will get their ticket for the AFCON from June 23 to July 23 of 2023. The first 2 teams of each group will qualify for the final phase at the end of the qualifiers. And in Gabon, as prelude to the resumption of the National Football League of First and Second Division, the Minister of Youth and Sport, Frank Gema, representatives of the Gabonese Football Federation, FEGAFOOT, the National Football League, the LINAF, and those of the 24 clubs signed on the April 26 in Libreville an agreement defining and setting the outlines of the commitment of each other before the launch of the league on May 14th.
In order for national football to benefit from the support of the government, this convention implements the following principles: the mutualization of expenses of first and second division clubs, and therefore the direct payment through a single window by LINAF for the salaries of players and coaches, transportation, accommodation and catering of teams during their travel, periodic medical monitoring of players and referees. It also applies the principle of the compulsory standard sports contracts signed between the clubs and the players, and also the principle of the banking of the players and the trainers for the payment of their salaries.
All parties are expected on May 14th on football pitches all around the country for the resumption of the league in its transitional phase, hoping for a good show, the attraction of crowds, and healthy competitiveness.
Well, and now we welcome Lois Bituga, development coach and sports commentator. Hello, Lois.
Hi, how are you doing?
How are you doing? You good?
I'm great, thank you very much. Thanks for having me here.
Okay, let us go straight into the matter. 5 African teams will participate in 2022 World Cup in Qatar. Do you think, after the draw that we just had during this month of April, that African teams were well treated?
Well, when we say well treated, we always want to think about the kind of teams they're going to be playing against.
Yeah.
And the number of teams, African teams we have in the World Cup. Now, we already know that this is, to be honest, it's a little bit unfair that Europe has a lot more teams than any other continent. But on the other hand, if you look at continents like South America, for example, they also do get 5 teams there, and they still manage to win. So I don't think we should look at it nowadays, knowing exactly what's been happening over the years, that it's a question of bad treatment. It's just a matter of mentality. I think we have very strong teams. A team like Senegal, for example, with a lot of international players, like Mohamed Salah or Edouard Mendy. Sadio Mane, I meant, exactly,
because
yes.
Salah is not going.
Salah is not going, he's going for Egypt, indeed, thank you very much.
Yeah.
So like Sadio Mane, who's playing for Liverpool, who's one of the best players, by the way. Edouard Mendy, who's playing for Chelsea, who should have been the best goalkeeper in the world, in my opinion, by the way.
I think he is.
No, he's not actually. They gave it to, what's that Italian goalkeeper, Donnarumma, exactly.
Okay.
So basically, what we want to say is we've got the resources, we've got the talent, we've got the quality, and now it's just time to change our mindset, and instead of being happy
Do you
to
think
be...
we can have for the first time an African team winning?
Well, I think we could have had that long time ago. I mean, if you look at the different teams that we've had there, like Nigeria, like Cameroon when they were very powerful again, Senegal still again there, Ghana, for instance, who almost made it to the quarterfinal. But that's the thing, actually. I think it's a question of mindset. We've always been very happy to just get to the quarterfinal as if it was a title. We need to go there and understand that we are very good. We are just as good as anybody else in that competition. And just like Brazil won 5 World Cup, we should be able to actually at least win.
Talking about the AFCON 2023 in Côte d'Ivoire, we saw the draws. I think it was on April 19th. Now, Gabon is again facing DRC. I want to go straight to this. Do you think we can have the same story repeating again, and we can have a kind of, anger during this new confrontation between both countries?
Well, most definitely we have to say first that football, actually, there's no mathematics in football. It's not an exact science. You never know, actually, it depends on the day. But like you mentioned rightly so before, this is an opponent that we've already met. And it's not the only opponent, by the way, but we can consider DRC being one of the strongest opponents that we're going to have to face. Well, we've beat them before on the field, and of course we are going to go there because there's some bad blood between the two teams for the fact that we won on the field and they try to win outside of the field, which is not something which is great. I think the Congolese people are going to come and try to get the revenge against us on the football field this time around.
And will be ready.
Of course, and we're also going to be ready, most definitely. I mean, like we have players, Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang not doing so well at Arsenal, now doing very well in Barcelona. Of course, we have other new youngsters. We've got Domar Colino's son now, our former football player, who's just signed his first contract with...
That's amazing.
Yes, exactly, in French First Division Rennes. So I'm pretty sure that we're going to have some new addition for the manager to be able to prepare his team better for these events. And
okay.
we'll be waiting for them.
We are talking about the national team. Now let's go straight to the, our championship. We saw in the report that they signed, that the minister and the officials of the league, they signed contract, to make resume the championship. What is your thought about it? How do you think it's gonna happen? Is it again what we call in French éléphant blanc, a white elephant, or is it really going to be something?
Well, look, first of all, we're very happy that the league starts again. I'm not going to lie, we're very happy that the league starts again. We might have questions about how it works and how it starts now, but we're very happy. What we need to understand is that first thing first, having the players not playing a single football match for 2 years was not particularly the right thing to do. And now they decided to sign another agreement to make sure that everything goes according to plan this time around. But people have the right to actually believe that it's going to be just another bluff because, well, I think the players are still owed some money, which has not been paid to them fully yet. And now we're moving on to signing something completely different and talking about all the measures that they've taken before already that they're going to do again. So the only thing that we can hope for our country is that this time around everything works pretty well. But I think instead of trying to patch the holes and cover up everything that's wrong, we actually need to tackle the roots. And that would start, in this case, for instance, by settling everything that is owed to the players, bring some level of accountability to the football team's owner, basically making sure that they pay the players and get the infrastructure going, and of course the government on its side to honor is a part of the deal.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Bituga. I remember you are development coach and sports commentator. We hope to have you here again for the G24 Newsroom.
Right, thank you very much for having me. I'd be very happy to come back.
Okay, well, we have reached the end of this edition of the G24 Newsroom. I'm Yan Leimongo. So glad to have been the one presenting this newscast. You can still follow us on our social networks down the screen. Don't forget, life is still what you make it. Goodbye. See you soon.